Hi, Alex Deploy here from Expert Forex, and in this video we're going to be looking at creating some trading strategies. In previous videos we looked at the functionality of the RSI, and then we looked at the settings available in the automated indicator. Now on your screen you'll see a table showing the number of variables that one can use when using this automated indicator. And I'll just go through them very briefly. In terms of time frames, you can use it for 6 to 7 time frames. In terms of currencies, normally there are about 12 tradable currencies for Forex. RSI settings, there are normally quite a number of RSI settings. I've been conservative and said we'll restrict that to 6. Then, as we know, there are only 2 entry options, the upward crossover and the downward crossover. Then there are 5 exit options. The break even and falling stop are 1, so there are 5 there. Then the number of settings you can have for take profit and stop loss, there are a number of settings. I've been conservative, saying there are 7 variables there. And then reverse trade, you can either say yes or no. A trade after loss, again you can say yes or no. Number of open trades, you can choose any number. I've said that you can choose up to 5. Trailing stop settings, you can there's a number of variations. Again, I've been conservative and listed 10. Time of day can start at 0 hour and end at 23 hours. So there's a number of options there. And then time of day exit can be anything from 1 to 24 hours. So there's a number of options there. And then the day of week, there are 7 choices. Now, the problem is if you multiply all of those choices, you literally get millions of options. And if you've got a huge calculator, you can try and do that. Just multiply all those numbers out. You'll find millions of options. So the idea is to firstly look at the options available and group them. So what I've done is I've said, okay, the time frame and currencies decision is one actually outside of the automated indicator, and therefore I've given it a sort of a dark yellow color. Then we come to the major strategy decisions, and those are the ones that are going to affect profitability in a big way, and those I've colored in the light yellow or beige color. And those are the RSI settings, the ways of entering and exiting and how to take profit. So those are the major drivers of profitability in the EA. Then the darker orange type of variables are ones that are refinements. So you can decide to reversing a trade is a refinement. Trading after loss is a refinement. The number of open deals are refinements on the basic trading strategy in the beige. So all of these are refinements on the basic strategy. So I've now grouped the variables into 3 groups: the refinement group, the profit driving group, and then the variables that you can decide to use your testing on. And as I say, if you multiply that out, you get to millions of millions. So the objective is really to reduce those number of variables. Now, there are a lot of people out there that actually try and optimize these automated systems and try and optimize all the variables at the same time, and it's the most ridiculous thing to do. So I'm going to show you what I do is I go for creating a strategy. Now it does depend on your experience level and knowledge of the particular indicator that you're using. A lot of it is common sense. If you just sit back, relax and think about things, it's common sense and a bit of trading experience. If you lack that, not too serious, you'll get it over time. But if you are reasonably experienced, you'll identify with what I'm going to be saying in the next few minutes. So the benefit of having a strategy to start with is it reduces the number of alternatives tremendously. Also, it forces the trader to think about what they're doing, what they're trying to achieve with the actual technique that they're using. It brings out the trader's trading experience and common sense. And it also creates a kickoff point for the next steps in the getting the best value out of your EA process. So creating high-level strategies is pretty important. And when I'm talking about high levels, they don't have to be profitable. They just have to be logical and sensible. Now, once you do a high-level strategy, what you're effectively doing is you reducing your options to one of these variables. So you're only using one, for instance, one time frame, one currency, one setting, and so on. So if you multiply all the ones, you get to one. So instead of having millions and millions of options, you suddenly have one. So that's a much better starting point. And secondly, you'll have actually given the process some thought. So I'm going to very quickly show you how I would do this with the RSI. Now, the RSI can be traded in two basic ways. You can swing trade it, or you can scalp it, use it for scalping. So I'm going to quickly go through the swing trading logic, the logic that I would use, and based on my experience, and often when I do a strategy like this, I actually come up with a profitable strategy straight away with a bit of luck. Sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it does, but it creates a great kickoff point. So I go and I say, all right, let's say I want to swing trade. Now, swing trading is longer term trading, taking the bigger movements of the market into account. You can also short term swing trade, but swing trading in general is longer term trading. So suddenly the 5-minute and the 15-minute charts fall off the decision, and I would just go for a 4-hour chart. So now I've got one time frame. Then currencies don't matter. There are 4 basic currencies for testing to give you an idea of whether an automated indicator is profitable or not, and they are the euro, the pound, the euro yen, and the pound yen. If those 4 currencies don't work, don't even go any further with evaluating an automated indicator. So I'm just going to choose the euro. So I've now reduced my option to 1. So RSI settings, the most basic ones that tend to work are the 20 for oversold and the 80 for overbought. So I'm not going to think any further. I'm just going to take those. So I've reduced that to 1. Then the options to enter doesn't matter at this stage. And I can choose either of those. I could choose, let's say, the upward crossover method, and I've now got my options down to 1. So then, what way are we going to exit? I'm going to use the take profit and stop loss method of exiting. So there we are. I've reduced that decision to 1. And then the take profit and stop loss values. You've got to think about it. You're swing trading using the 4-hour chart. So essentially, you're going for the bigger moves in the market, and what you can use as a guideline is the daily range that the price moves. And in general, I would use something like 100 pips to 120 pips. If the currency is a little bit more volatile, you could go up to 150 pips. But let's just start with, let's say, 100 pips for the take profit and 100 pips for the stop loss. Simplified the strategy down to 1 again. Then reverse trade. All the other ones are no decisions. I just go for the most basic decision there is. So I'm not going to reverse trade. I'm not going to trade after loss. I'm only going to have one open trade. I'm going to not use a trading stop. I'm going to not use the time of day method of entry, and I'm not going to choose a day of week. I'm going to trade them all, and I'm going to trade 24 hours. So again, I've reduced everything down to 1 option. So my strategy has suddenly taken all the options from millions down to 1 option. And as I say, at the moment, we're not after profitably. We just want to get a basic, logical, sensible strategy. Now, I think you'll agree with me with what I've come up with so far doesn't appear to be too illogical or not common sense. Now, you could use the same approach if you want to look for a scalping strategy, for instance. Now, a scalping strategy, I'm going to quickly create a scalping strategy for you. Scalping strategy needs short-term chart. So you can either go for a 5-minute or 15-minute chart. I'm going to just choose 15 minutes to start with, so I've got my one. Currencies, again, easy, the euro to start with. RSI settings, again, 20 and 80 are great settings. Buy and sell options, again, doesn't matter too much, but you could use the upward crossover. That's one option. Exit, you can also use take profit and stop loss, again pretty straightforward. Now when it comes to what kind of profit, take profit and stop loss, again you've got to use your common sense. We're using short-term time frames, and therefore we are not going to go for hundreds. We need to go for something sensible. Now in general, these kind of moves are between 20 and 30 pips, so you could start with 25 pips as take profit and 25 pips as a stop loss. Reverse trade and all of those, again, we won't get involved in those at all, except for the time of day. When you're scalping, you want to trade in the most volatile times of the day. And those are, in general, the open of the US market and the open of the UK market. So you choose those particular markets. And let's say you go for the UK market, you could trade it from hour 6, which is when the European market actually starts opening, to hour 12, which is then the time at which the market has been open for a couple of hours, and most of the volatility happens in those particular hours. So again, we've eliminated our choices down to one, and we're going to trade all the days. So there I've created 2 kickoff strategies that we can use. Now, in future videos, we'll refine those strategies and take them further. But you have to start with thinking about the automated indicator and how you want to use it and what kind of strategies you want to use. And I've just come up with the 2 basic ones. There are the details of these strategies on the website. As you can see, there's the one swing trade strategy. I've also added another swing trade strategy there for you to have a look at. And there's a swing trade strategy number 2, and then I've also added the scalping strategy, and there is scalping strategy number 2 with the settings for the various strategies. So have a look at the website for more details, but I think you're starting to get an idea of how you can find strategies to trade various indicators. We'll now move on to the next video.